Hello and welcome back to my channel, Bookish Lady Night, where we get a look behind the book. Today I'm joined by audiobook narrator Sara Brocht, whose voice brings us stories across romantasy, romance, and everything in between. From sweeping fantasy worlds to emotionally charged characters, she works with authors to give us an immersive listening experience that pulls you in. Thank you so much for joining me today. A couple of noteworthy books she's done is A Broken Throne of Brawn and Beyond the Arching Door. So I'm so excited to chat with you today.
Yes. Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yes. So for those who do not know of you, I know I mentioned a couple of books, but can you kind of give us a little bit of your backstory, a little bit about the books that you've worked on?
Sure. I started narrating about 3 years ago now, which is wild. And I got into it because my daughter and my husband both have dyslexia, and audiobooks were a complete game changer for us. And so I was like, well, I feel like I need something for me, and this is something I can do. And I have a background in musical theater, competitive opera, like all sorts of, stuff that lends itself to storytelling. And so I started narrating and immediately was swept into some really powerful indie books because of ARC signups. Like I just, was getting into the whole bookish community and found some really, really incredible like gems. And I was like, this needs an audiobook. I need this to be an audiobook. This is so good. And so that's kind of how things kicked off. And I've really focused on the indie community because I really just want to make books, especially for indie authors and their readers, more accessible. So here we are. I think except for one book, my entire backlist is indie authors. And so some of the books, I've got one author who focuses on contemporary romance, and it's been contemporary medical romance, Laura Beth, and her Grace General series. She's an RN, and so her books are really accurate to that entire storyline.
Uh-huh.
And they've got really sultry like Grey's Anatomy vibes. It's a lot of fun. And then I have a couple YA books that are fantasy, Rachel Shade, and then the rest is pretty much sweeping fantasy romance. Like, give me all the romance with all the magic, please and thank you very much. So, and I have one sapphic fantasy romance in there too, which I'm really excited about. Holy Wrath by Victoria Meyer. That one is also so much fun. So,
Love
yeah,
that. And
just
it's such a
a whole
broad
spectrum.
range.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun getting to sort of live inside all the different stories. Let me just walk in my studio, put on my characters and just dive in. So, it's kind of my process.
I love that. And it's great that you're supporting, indie authors. Pretty much
Mhm.
everybody that I interview on here is an indie author.
Well, that's fantastic.
So that they get, yeah, because I want to help. I'm a small business owner,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna be self-publishing this summer.
Well, that's so fun.
Thank you. But I always feel like, for my business, it's just me. I'm the only person. I'm the one making everything. So it's like word of
Yeah.
mouth really is what gets me out there. Same thing
Yeah,
for
that's
indie authors.
That's huge. Yeah. I turned all of this into a little boutique audiobook production company at the end of December. And so now it's Infinite Audio. And I find myself a small business owner of a production company going, hey, I just gave myself another full time job. But I needed more options for my indie authors to be able to go wider in their
Yeah.
distribution. And so I thought, let me just do it myself. So here I am. But it's a lot of
Awesome.
fun.
So what is something for those who are maybe not familiar with the audiobook world, the difference between you as a narrator and then you now as like a production doing more? Like what does that kind of entail?
So for a lot of audiobooks, if they're published by like a big production company, like say Podium or Tantor or, one of the big 5 publishers, the publishing company basically handles everything and you get the opportunity to audition or you get a direct offer and then you do your part and you just send it in. And then they handle all the compilation, all the editing, all of the distribution, all of the marketing, like they do everything. And you just do the acting part, which is lovely. Um it's less time consuming. And then independent narrating, which, listen, almost all the narrators I know do both. We're
Mhm.
all freelance narrating. We're all usually on a roster to kind of doing a little bit of everything to keep it, the momentum going. And so for the production company side of it for myself, I'm, you know, connecting with the authors, prepping the script. I mean, which I would do anyway, like if I was just going to freelance narrate a book. And then doing the book, producing the book, editing, production, distribution, marketing, PR,
Yeah.
putting together an advanced listening team. Because, a lot of audiobooks have ALCs, which are advanced listening codes, basically, just like you would get an ARC for an ebook. They do it for audiobooks as well. So putting that together, setting the pricing, like there's a lot going on besides just narrating. So yeah,
So with
it's a
doing
lot.
that on the production side, do you yourself have a roster of narrators that you work with, or how does that work if, say, someone wants to do like a multicast?
Well, I don't have like an official roster at the moment. It's me, but I do have two clients that wanted one was duet and one was dual. And so that's just a matter of, like negotiating, like, here's our rates, here's what we charge. And so I have a couple friends and I was like, hey, I think you would be a great voice for this character. Are you free? And so, yeah, so then it's a matter of hiring another narrator, in this case my first duet book with my first, mask narrator, so that'll be fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then just coordinating all of that, so which we've been doing, it's a lot of fun. So
So when you start recording a book to the point where we would get it, how long does that generally take?
I would say the best estimate for me is probably 2 to 3 months, depending on how long the book is. Like, if it's like a 10-hour book, it's probably taken about 40 plus hours into it to get it down to 10 hours, and that can take about a month and a half to 2 months, depending on everything else going on. So, yeah. Yeah, if you take the hours of any audiobook you see, like, "Oh, this is an 18-hour book," just multiply it by 3 or 4. That's how much minimum time probably went into making that happen. So
Wow.
and, like,
That's
for per
crazy.
it is, it's a lot because you're like, "Oh, that's like a 20-minute chapter." That 20-minute chapter probably took me an hour minimum on a good day, like, especially if I don't have to, like, wait for the motorcycle to drive by or, if it's pouring outside, I can hear it in my studio, so, like, I lose that day, it just depends. Or if I make a mistake and I'm like, "Oh, I said that wrong. Dang it." Let me go back. Um, just all the little things that happen, but it's fun. I mean, I do it because I fell in love with it. So I don't even mind that there's, time-consuming elements to it. It's such a good time.
Yeah, that's really great. So if you could describe your narrator voice in a couple of words, what would you pick?
I get the word sultry a lot. I think that's probably because I have a slightly lower register as a woman, but I don't know, maybe authentic. I try to be as true to the characters the way I hear them in my head as I can be. So engaging. My goal is to make you feel like you're in it, that you're experiencing it. So hopefully that translates when you're listening.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So what is the most common reaction that you get from people when they realize that you're the voice behind a book that they've listened to?
I get a lot of surprise at my man voice. They're like, wait a minute, I had to double check. I thought there was more than one narrator in this book. That's just all you? Yes. So that's probably my most favorite kind of feedback is, "Wait a minute. I thought I thought there were more people involved in this. Are you serious?" Because I have one book, it's, Heir of Sun and Moon, actually, by Janessa Wren. There are a lot of points of view and characters in that series, and it increases with each book, and so that's one of the things they're like, "Wait a minute. Wait, I thought there were more people. Nope, just me.
Just
I'm
you.
a multicast all by myself."
So how do you remember, the different tones and sounds of each of the characters?
So, some people are gonna tell you that they have a file of everybody's voice that they've used and they refer to it, and I'm going to just be really honest and say, I don't do that. Unless it's like some really, really minor character that has like one line, then I'll go back and find it. But most of the time, if I've narrated a book, I've already read it generally 2 or 3 times. So by the time I get in the booth with it, I feel like, no, I know these people. And so I'll step in and be like, oh, I'm going to be so and so today. Okay. And because I feel like I understand who the character is, then it's easy for me to just step right back into that voice. They've never started to like overlap or blend together, if that makes sense. So they just become part of me. so, so I'm
Do they
like,
like go around and you like have them in your head and they just are kind of talking to you?
if I'm working on a book and it's a long enough one, yes. It's sort of like, okay, so I hear a lot of authors say like, "Oh, my characters talk to me," right? Or like,
Yeah,
the
they do.
story, they're telling me what to do, or I'm seeing it play out and I'm just writing down what they're doing, right? Which I think is fascinating. And so what's happened to me is I'll sit in here and I'll start reading it off. And I get direction from the authors on what they want. Like, how do you want this character to sound? How deep is their voice? You want her to be breathy and higher pitched and she's low pitched. Like, I get all of that information. But once I get in here and I start reading it, I'm like, and it's like, no, no, that's not how I would say that. Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah.
Oh, he wouldn't sound like that. He would sound more like this. She's actually, nope, that didn't quite catch her personality. Let's try that again. So that's kind of how that goes in here.
Yeah. That's a lot of
It's
fun
fun.
though.
It is. They're all very vivid.
Yeah. That's really cool. So, since you said you do audiobook, you listen to them yourself, who are some of your favorite narrators?
Okay, so my two very most top favorite narrators are Elizabeth Evans. She's probably most popularly known for all the Sarah J. Maas books.
Yeah.
And then Marisa Kalin, who's done all of the Kingdom of the Wicked books, and like the Throne of Secrets, and then Ruthie Bowles is another one that's one of my favorite narrators. Those three women are some of the best solo narrators I've ever heard. They're the kind of narrators where I don't turn the book off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you hear, because audiobooks are so subjective. And I went into this industry knowing that. So everyone's voice is not for everyone, and that's fine. But they're my three favorite because when I turn it on, I feel like, boom, I'm in the story immediately. Like, oh, I believe you. I
Yeah.
believe you. Okay, cool. Here we
Yeah.
are.
I love that. That's so true. That is really very true.
Yep. So
So, what do you think the biggest misconception people have about audiobook narrators is?
that's a good question. Probably that we actually like listen to a lot of books because I do so much of my own production. I listen to myself all day long. I don't have a lot of time outside of this, so I don't get to read and listen as much as I would like to outside of what I'm working on, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or that we're unapproachable. Like some people are afraid to talk to narrators. Like, "Oh, I don't know, I don't want to bother them," or "Please talk to we love it. Please talk to us." Like, feel free to, or like, "Oh, I don't know, should I just ask my favorite narrator if they're free?" Yes. Yes. Shoot your shot always. I don't care how popular or big they are. If they have time in their schedule, they're likely to give you a shot. So,
Yeah. That's true. That's true. It doesn't hurt to ask, and the least they say is
no.
no, and then you
And
you
then you
get
know,
it.
right?
Yeah, and then you know.
Or they're like, "Hey, not right now, but next year, sure."
Yeah. Yeah, or maybe on a next book you have out or a next project, like, you just never know. So what has surprised you as far as doing this professionally versus, when you were listening to it as a reader and now being in the business? What has been the most, like, surprising thing that you've learned?
Probably how tight the community is. The narrator community is very tight, and for the most part, really, really welcoming, very little gatekeeping. Everyone's really encouraging. You can ask a million questions, someone will help you. Like, it's such a solid community, and I don't think I expected that because it felt so big, like, "Ooh, audiobooks," you know? And we're just people, and most of us sit in a booth all day, like, we're just, and because we're isolated in that sense, having an online community where we can just chat with each other and be like, "Hey," super helpful. One of the narrators that I'm friends with, she's also a dialect coach. So, yeah, listen, it is so handy to have a friend who's a dialect coach because I had to do a book that had a transatlantic accent, like, the old 1940s movies accent, and I just could not nail it by myself, and I was like, "Okay, listen, I need your help. Let's set up a meeting. How do I hire you? What do I do?"
Yeah.
And so we spent an hour on a video call, and she was like, "Oh, it's this. These are the rules for it." And I said, "Oh, okay. Now it makes sense." And then I did it. But yeah, I was not gonna get that by myself, so super grateful.
I was talking to another narrator and I was asking them, are you an introvert or an extrovert? Because you spend so much time alone. So I'll ask you that same question. Which one do you fall under?
Well, I'm one of the fewer probably, I mean, I don't mean to say I know everybody, but I'm absolutely an extrovert. I live for the chat. Let me just talk, 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 talk. So unfortunately, every time I have, like, a scheduled call, I'm like, "Hey," and it's, like, 2 hours later, I'm like, "I'm so sorry. Neither of us had 2 hours to spare. Let me get off this call right now." So, yeah, I'm very, very people-oriented. I'm
Yeah.
not in a interact with people-oriented space, but that's okay.
So it never it doesn't bother you ever that you're, so much time by yourself in the booth?
No, not really. It just kind of is. I mean, I also have 5 kids, and I homeschool them, and so I get a lot of peopling done, just not necessarily outside of my house.
Yeah. I feel you. I homeschool too. I just have 2 kids,
See?
but
So
I
you
homeschool.
know,
Yes.
it's a big time investment.
Yes, it is. It very
Really,
much is.
so
So
much.
with
So,
your
yeah.
books, what was one that was more of your memorable or not necessarily favorite because that's like picking your favorite child, but a
Yeah.
book that really stuck with you that you narrated?
Okay, that's hard because I pick all of my books really, really intentionally, but I think the book that has probably impacted me the hardest is Beyond the Aching Door by Victoria Meyer and then its sequel, Beneath the Buried Sea. I read that book because we had a book club, like book of the month situation with it, and I read it and I just put it down and I just sat there and I stared at my wall and I was like, I don't know what to do with myself now. Like, what? And it's
Yeah.
one of those books, it doesn't happen all the time, but I felt so seen after reading that book. Like, okay, it's not just me. Okay, good. And so when she asked me to narrate it, I was like, yes, please. Like, thank you. And it was fun because I got to be, because it was a solo project. And so I got to also be the voice of the king. And the most fun I had was learning his accent, which is Welsh. I was like, "I don't even know," like, "Welsh, okay, okay, cool, let me figure that out." Because it's like, "Oh, Sarah, can you do this accent?" "Yes." The answer is always yes. I could do anything. I will figure that out. That's not an issue. And so I found some interview videos of Michael Sheen, the actor, but doing an interview, not being, like, funny, like, he's, like, wild and kinda zany and stuff, but this was, like, an interview he did for some, like, project for theater in his hometown. So he was just talking really, like, calmly.
Huh.
And and I was like, "Okay, first of all, I don't think I ever noticed how deep his voice was, and this is the coolest accent." And so then I had to, I have an accent book. And then I looked up, like, the rules specifically for it. And so that book holds a really special place in my heart because I'm obsessed with it still, and I got to be it and also learn a new accent. So that was fun.
It's awesome. What a great opportunity. That's like a made it moment kinda because you read it and then the serendipityness of it that she reached out and asked you to narrate it.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was perfect, and I love her. So, I've gotten to do all of her other books as well, like Holy Wrath is her book. So, yeah, it's been a really good time.
What does a typical recording day look like for you?
So, I can't record until nighttime because there are construction projects going on around my neighborhood, and it's just heavy trucks all day long, and that's not a sound I can edit out ever in any way. So I start narrating after I get everybody to bed. So, like 9 o'clock, I come in my studio, turn all my stuff on, pull out. I have a Kindle Scribe because it lets me mark up all the PDFs and it's big enough for me to see. Because at one point I was just using my phone and I don't recommend that
Yeah.
at all.
That's
I think it
small.
hurt. I think it hurt my eyesight, but that's fine. The sacrifices we make, right? And so I'll come in here and I'll record from like 9 to 11, 11:30, probably at night. And I usually get like 3 chapters in, depending on how long they are. I mean, if it's a 45-minute chapter, well, that's gonna take most of my time, depending on, if I have to stop for, the neighbor's motorcycle or the, like, loud diesel truck. But that's basically it. I just sit in here. I'm not in my booth 8 hours a day. I wish I could be. I would love to, but I can't record during the daytime currently at all, which is
Yeah.
really a bummer. But I record at night, and then I spend my daytime hour doing edits and production. So I'm going through and listening for mouth noises, breaths, clicks. Did I say the word wrong? Did I mix up the phrase? Like sometimes if I'm tired, like, "Oh, I said that backwards." Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Mark that one for pickups, but it's not bad.
Yeah. Is the editing process difficult or is it pretty streamlined?
It's not difficult, it's just it takes a long time. I would say it's probably like if you have to do line edits of your book when you're writing, like edits you just have to do it. You know what I mean? Like you just have to literally listen through the entire thing
Yeah.
and catch your mistakes or, you didn't realize you whooshed a sound or, sometimes, hey, tummies make noise,
Yeah. And it picks it
or
all up. So you have to like fix that.
yeah, or your husband texts you and you're like, "I'm in the booth." But usually it's not him, usually it's my sister. She'll be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm literally working." She's like, "It's 10 o'clock at night. Leave me alone, I'm working." So my whole family knows now we've got a set of rules. Don't contact me after 9 o'clock at night unless someone's in an emergency, please.
Yeah.
And if you are remotely sick, do not come near me for like a week at least.
Yeah. Because that'll
Because
affect
if
your voice.
I lost all of January and half of February because I think we had COVID, to be honest. And then we got sick again like a week later with something else that my husband brought home from work. And I was like, okay. So back to back sick sucks. Everyone's like, just use your man voice. I was like, no, this is beyond my ability to speak in a raspy, deep voice. Like, we're cracking here. This sounds bad.
Jeez. Oh.
No one, no one wants to hear that. Maybe for a villain, but
Maybe, yeah. Maybe for a villain. So you read the full book as you're starting and prepping it and getting ready to go.
yeah, always read the whole book first. You don't wanna be surprised by an accent at the end, and then you're
Yeah.
sad.
Oh, that's true.
And you have to get, like, all your pronunciations ready. Like, fantasy books in particular, like, I "Hi, this is a made up word, I don't know how to say this." And reading a pronunciation guide doesn't really help me.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because I'm just not understanding like, I just don't bother. I'm like, "Hey, author friend, could you please voice message me this list of words?" And I just type it out and wait for the voice message back, and then I'm like, "Okay, good. Now I can say all these words."
It's because yeah, like you said, they're not always like they're made up names, made up words, made up places, and you're like, "What is that? Please tell me."
Yep. And maybe I heard it different in my head than you think it is, and so let me make sure you are telling me what this word is. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
which is harder to perform, the emotional scenes or like the heavy world building, like technical scenes of setting the story up?
I think maybe the more lighthearted scenes are actually harder for me. I can do deeply emotional. It's more like, "Oh, she giggled," or whatever, and I'm like, "Okay." It just depends. World building's fun as long as, you get the pace for it and then you just sort of clip through it. I will credit homeschooling for this because my oldest daughter, being that she's dyslexic, was not reading any of her own stuff for herself. She was like, "I can't. I just can't." So I spent a lot of time reading drier, non-fictional, like, historical books to her and keeping her attention. So in being able to do that, I can take that into, say, what would sometimes be considered, drier world building passages where there's not like a lot of dialogue and keep you engaged.
Yeah.
Use some emotional feeling behind the descriptions. Oh, is this beautiful sky? Or, oh, look, there's animals, and just sort of pretend I'm there, I
Yeah.
guess. Like pretend I'm seeing it so that it translates and you're not just like waiting for that part to be over. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, it does. And that's so interesting because I'm dyslexic and so is my daughter and I think my son. They're both on the spectrum. So we spend lots of time. I read mostly to them, but my daughter just started reading on her own this like last year and a half.
Nice.
Same thing though. It was like you had to make the boring topics exciting and getting them to stay focused.
Yep, yep. Let me read you this very interesting science text.
Exactly, exactly. So how do you think your process has changed over time since you first started to do audiobooks to where you are now?
It's gotten more efficient, definitely. And I've got better equipment, which is huge. And
Yeah,
then, I mean, probably confidence wise, that's improved, which makes everything better. And I've gotten more comfortable really leaning into the acting side of it, making things a little more expressive than I was, I would say, for starting out. If it says laughed, I'll laugh. Whereas before, maybe I wouldn't. I would just put like a laugh in her voice while she's talking. But now, oh, he chuckled and said, you're gonna get a chuckle. You're gonna get all those, he growled, okay. Or ooh, he hummed. "Oh, let me hum for you. That's fantastic. Let's go." So that's gotten more intense, I
yeah.
suppose,
So more of the
from when I first
theatric
started.
sounds.
Yeah, a little more, it's fun.
Yeah, I like that. I like when they do that because sometimes they'll just read it and they'll be like, "He
Mhm.
laughed," but then there's no laugh, and I'm like, I love the ones where they, like, giggle or they, like, do the creepy laugh if it's a villain, and I'm like, "Ooh, I like that."
Yes, it's so fun. Oh, I have one book where I get to be the creepiest, most awful villain. Oh my gosh, he is literally the worst villain, just in any kind of way. Is King Dolian in Heir of Sun and Moon in that series. Oh man, he's literally just the worst. And I have such a fun, horrible, creepy man voice for him because he's the author. She cracks me up. She's like, guys, he's not ugly. He's evil hot guy. Like he's attractive looking. He's just awful. And so I'm like, no, that's actually more diabolical because he's attractive, but actually just so unbelievably evil. And
Yeah,
so he gets a really interesting evil voice. So that's a lot of fun.
that's
An
pretty
evil
oh, that's
voice.
cool. That's very
Yeah, he
cool.
even has a POV and I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to be in this guy's head. This is traumatizing."
You're like, "I'm not okay."
No. So I'll be funny and send her voice messages in voice,
Yeah.
just for
So,
kicks.
with that well, I maybe not in that situation, but is there ever a time where you've had to, like, re-record something because it was either too triggering or too emotional?
I don't think I've ever had to re-record it, but I have had to stop and, like, pull myself together a little bit. A couple times, a book has made me cry a lot in character. The book made me cry reading it, and then it was Then There Was You by Laura Beth. I was like, "Okay, whew, let me sit here a minute, hold on." That one, it's so good. It's such a good book, but absolutely there were a couple scenes where I was like, "Oh, I'm actually sobbing. Okay. That's exciting." So I had to stop. I didn't have to re-record it, but I did have to stop and wait so that I didn't sound unintelligible, cuz I've definitely kept all my tears and emotions in, but you have to be able to understand it. So let me wait a minute. Let me
Yeah,
breathe.
yeah,
And also, you don't wanna sound, when you cry and you start to sound, like, stuffy, like you've been crying? You don't want
mhm,
that either,
yeah,
that doesn't sound nice. That's ugly, honestly. In a book situation, you don't want someone's voice in your head like that.
like, yeah,
So, yeah, I just wait till I can pull myself together.
yeah.
But, yeah, that book, whew, so
So
many
what do you
tears.
do to, like, protect your voice, like, keeping it
Mm.
in working order?
I stay hydrated more than I used to, which helps. I try not to get sick. Gargling with salt water, it's a boring old remedy, but it helps. I have a very big supply of throat tea and breathe tea. So I always have that with me in the studio. Like as part of, you asked me, like part of my whole setup to record is I have a mug of throat tea or breathe tea, depending, and just try to keep myself so that I don't start to crack. Because after you talk long enough, it starts to crack. I try not to yell. I mean, I'm not like a huge yeller, but I'm loud. And I have 5 kids and they're home. So they'll be like, "Hey," and I'm like, "No, don't do that. Walk to the other room and find them. Don't shout across the house to get their attention." So, that's probably the biggest thing that's actually saved my voice.
I feel you.
Just
If you're a
talking
mom,
to
you know.
well, yeah, and, like yours, they're all on the spectrum, so it's like, it's just a different level of intensity I have going on over here.
They all are on the spectrum?
Mhm. Yep. Yep, so we've got a few that are autistic, and then the others are autistic and ADHD, so
Yeah.
it's fun.
I feel you. My daughter's, both, and then I think my son is, but he's nonverbal, so they haven't, like,
They
fully
don't know yet.
diagnosed him with that yet because
Sure.
it's can't quite tell, but I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
they're not sure. Trust your instincts on that. You're like,
Yeah,
"No, I know. I see
yeah,
you."
yeah, I know. So, with narrating, like, especially, like, romantasy, you've done a
Mhm.
lot of that. What makes that especially fun or challenging for you?
I think I just, as a whole, love the genre. I have loved fantasy since I was, like, I don't know, maybe in, like, 5th grade when we had to read Narnia for school. Like, I was like, "Wait a minute, wait a minute. It's a magical door, it's a portal, there's witches and there's spells and there's what is happening?" And I think I've just been hooked on it ever since because let me please go to another world with a completely different set of rules. And so I think I've always just been drawn to fantasy that way. So what better excuse than to narrate it and have it also be a romance? I mean, I prefer I prefer everything to be a romance. I don't really care what the genre is with it, but I would like a romance and a happy ending. I don't want to I don't wanna be left sad, you know? I mean, I can deal
Yeah,
with a cliffhanger, that's fine. Cliffhangers are different, but let it end non-tragically. People are like, "Oh, no, sweeping, epic, what" that's not for me. I'll be
yeah,
sad.
yeah,
Please let them be together in love and safe at the end of the book, thanks.
yes. Because then I mean, I know there's some books that end like that. Obviously, like, we have Shakespeare had one like that, but it was just like, I got all the way there, and then it's like this sad ending, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Why?"
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, "Oh." I was on a historical fiction kick at one point, just reading, just as a reader, like, probably
Mhm.
back before COVID, I think, and I'm like, "Why did I do that to myself? That was sad." Like, those were all those were all so sad. What was I doing?
Yeah.
So, no thank you. I don't wanna be sad like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, with talking about villains or morally gray or black characters that you bring to life, what do you use as far as your thought process to bring them forward when you're voicing them?
I think I just try to get a really solid feel for their personality and their motivation. Like, what's motivating this character to be this way? And how do I bring that to light in a way that makes it make sense
Mhm.
and also makes it palatable? You know, I'm doing one right now, actually, Above by Brie Lamb. It'll be out very soon. Is very, very dystopian fantasy. The whole world is morally black. The characters are more like it's just a morally black situation and how they grapple in that to figure out who they are and, what they're I don't wanna give anything away, but it's very intense. And so it really becomes a lot of who are they? What's driving them? How do I make that come across just with my, words?
Yeah. Yeah. So then with, like, let's say, the male lead, because that
Uh-huh.
sometimes you have to be broody or you have to be like the golden retriever or you have to have like these different voices. Do you like kind of mirror maybe somebody that's in your life that is a guy to like think of how to do the voice? Or is it that same
So
vein?
no, no, so sometimes I'll, like, pick, like, I'll ask, like, check with the author, who do they remind you of? I have one character I had to get into, he was this he's like a shifter king and he was stuck under a curse, and you think he's like this morally gray, like broody, dark guy, but he's actually like the sweetest thing underneath. And so I had to learn an Irish accent for that. And so I picked Hosier and just listened to him talk in interviews. And I was like, oh, this is the man. For like the angry's not the right word, but for the more like growly, grumpy sort of MMCs, in the way that they speak in my head, basically, is that it's a lot more clipped and their voices are a bit flatter because they're just trying to talk to you like this. So everything is a lot more forceful and pushy and just kind of, right?
Mhm.
So that's my morally gray, man. And then if he's more of like a golden retriever type, I try to put a little more lilt into him. So he'll talk a little more like this, like, "Hey, how are you doing?" He's more jovial, and he can still be deep and he can still be growly, but there's more expression, I guess you
Mhm.
could say. Like, they have more vocal expression. So a lot of it's just based on personality. Like, how would I talk if I were this person? And then just bring it down as low as I can.
Yeah.
Just
Does
dive
that
deep.
hurt doing it lower, like your voice?
No, I have a deeper voice in general naturally, so it doesn't take much for me to fall in here. What's hard is actually doing a higher pitched, breathier girl. So I've had one book where I had to talk like this for quite a while, and her voice is up here, and she's very breathy, and she was also sad, and so she kind of talks like this, and switching from that sound down here to this sound in the same chapter, that's when it gets that's
Yeah.
actually hard.
Yeah.
So that's when there can be some vocal strain, is when I have to switch from 2 drastically different voices in the same chapter. So I don't have a lot of higher pitched breathy females simply because I don't sound like that, so I don't get a lot of those requests.
Mhm.
But there's
Yeah.
a few here and there, and I love them, like, they're great. But it's like, "Oh, no, can you be softer for her?" "Sure, sure." I just gotta really prep myself because that's not how I naturally talk. So
Yeah. And that's
I
hard
suppose
to,
that's
like,
harder.
go up and down, like, because we don't we think, like you said, there's, like, multiple people going on, like, multiple people talking in our minds because 'cause we're immersed in the story. We're thinking if there's 4 people, there's 4 people, when really, no, it's you, and you're, like,
Right.
dropping and doing all these different accents to bring us the and you're reading it usually all in the same take because you can't, like, crop
Yes.
it out and, like, edit it all together, like.
That would be so much work. Yeah, no. I've had my husband was like, "Shouldn't you just do that?" And I was like, "I'd rather just not. No, that
Yeah.
sounds like no fun, thanks."
Yeah. Sounds like
That
a lot
sounds
of work.
actually hard. Also, just to keep it in the same, like, you want the same overall room sound. So that would just be more trouble than it's worth, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had one chapter in this one book. I think it was For the God's Sake by Rory Scott, and it was a completely male POV chapter, and it was the main character talking to his 3 guy friends, and they were from the other 2 books, and so they're all in the room together, and they're all talking, and the entire 45 minutes is just me in a deep guy voice, but making it different. So I was like, "Okay, what does this one talk like? Okay, what does this one sound like?" I was like, "Oh, you know what? I'm pretty proud of myself on that one." But it was fun. Let me just be 5 guys in a room, but not sound the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an art. I can't even do a really good guy voice anyway. I sound ridiculous when I try, so it's definitely an art form.
It's tricky. My husband's always like, "Just don't do the dumb guy voice." And I'm like, "Oh, no, I know what you mean." And I think every woman has one,
Yeah.
when you're like, "Well, yeah, that guy." We all
Yep.
have that guy voice. And you
Yep.
don't want that as the love interest in a book. "Wait, I'm supposed
Exactly.
to be in love with this guy, but why does he sound like that guy? He sounds like that guy. I don't want that guy." So, it's funny,
Exactly. Do
but I
you
always laugh.
see the characters in your head? Like, do you imagine them as you're reading them? Do they, like, visually pop
Mhm.
in your head?
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. It's like it feels like watching a scene, if that makes sense. Like I feel like I'm watching it take place sort of in front of me on the page, or I don't necessarily feel like I am them watching it, but I feel like I'm watching it play out and I'm making them talk.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Paddington?
Yeah.
So you remember in the first movie where they find the video of the explorer and they put it on the screen and it starts off in black and white and then it like pans to Technicolor. That's what I feel like when I start a book. I feel like it's in black and white and then I feel like I'm
Yep.
walking into the world and it's all immersive and I just see all the details and it's like I'm there with
I
the
love
characters.
that. That's
Yeah.
actually such a perfect description of it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like you put it on and all of a sudden it just starts to come to life.
Yeah,
Yes.
like you're walking in the
Exactly.
room and then trees are coming up around you or there's a castle looming in the background and you just like are just stepping into it. So that's always what
Yes.
happens when I read a book and I love it. Go to so many different worlds. It's great.
It is.
Have
It's so fun. That's why I
yeah.
like fantasy for that reason too, just all the different worlds.
Mhm. Cuz you can walk a thousand lives and never really leave your own life, but you can walk all these different lives because you
Yep.
read these amazing stories that don't take place here.
Exactly. Exactly. I love it.
Have you ever fallen in love with a character that you're narrating?
Oh, every single time. Like I said, I'm really intentional about what I narrate, and
Mhm.
so I narrate the books because I've fallen in love with them for some reason. So I feel very attached. I saw one narrator, she was so cute. She's like, if you're an author and your book is your baby and you've hired me to make the audiobook, it was Samantha Norbury, I believe, that said it. She was
Mhm.
like, your baby just got a stepmom because that's now my baby too. I'm like, yes, yes. I was like, yeah, that is how it feels. So I do fall in love with them. I fall in love with the MMCs. I
Mhm.
fall in love with the FMCs. I'm here for the whole journey. I'm like, I love them. Like A Broken Throne of Bronze you mentioned at the beginning, that just went live on the 15th. And I read that book when shortly after it came out
Mhm.
at the end of 2023 and just fell in love with it. I was like, this is the most fun, vibrant Beauty and the Beast retelling with such a cool twist. Yes. And then I got to do it. And I was like, yes, yes. Thank you, Rena. I love it. So yeah, no, I love Viridian. I love all of them. What can I
Yeah.
say?
Yep. I agree. I can't I just like have all these new friends that just live rent free in my brain. They just each get their own little apartment up in there.
Yep, they've got their lives just sort of keep running along and you can step back in whenever you want.
Yep. Exactly. So what's something that listeners would be surprised to learn about of, maybe a moment that we're listening to or something that you've recorded that like we wouldn't necessarily know it was maybe like a difficult moment or a really funny moment or like like you said you had to stop and like give yourself a moment that we maybe wouldn't see that because we're listening to it and it's finished.
Oh, um I don't know. I keep a lot of all of the feeling stuff, like, funny or not, like, it pretty much gets to stay, but there are sometimes there's a lot of retakes where you're not it sounds like this seamless transition, and I'll have to be like, "Wait, no." And I have to, like, prep my voice like, "No, we're down here. No, no, that's not right. No." So you don't get any of that, but I'm over here like, "Hold on, let me find it. Let me find him. Oh, shoot, it's gone. Where'd it go?" So there's a lot of that. There's a
Yeah.
lot of that. It doesn't always show up the way it's supposed to at the right time sometimes. Some days I'm like, "Okay, so we're not gonna record this one today. We're gonna do something different and switch chapters because this is not cooperating." But thankfully, it doesn't happen too often.
Is it weird when you jump chapters?
No, it's not too bad. I'll usually read the end of the chapter that's preceding the one if I have to jump and just
Hmm.
like, okay, what was the tone ending here so I can jump into the one I'm gonna be in. Or like for the Air of Sun and Moon, the next one, Crowns of Stars and Tides, has a lot of POVs going on. I think there's 6, maybe 7. Yeah. Oh, listen, if you ever want like a big epic fantasy world with romance, that's your book. Like that series, holy cow. So there's 3 main, no, 4? I think 3 in that one. Main female points of view and then the guy points of view, there's a few that get interspersed. And so to keep everything sounding consistent,
Yeah.
I took the one character, her name's Rhea, she has a more soft voice, more medium to high, not high pitch, but more medium pitch. I just did her chapters all at the same time. Like I just did hers and just kept doing hers. And then I switched and went to the other FMC, Bahira, because she has a very different way of speaking and just did all of hers back to back so that, and their storylines stay separate for a lot of it. So it wasn't like confusing, but that helped with the consistency.
Because they're not dual narration, like, so to speak. You're not having to talk, like, changing the voice within those chapters, or did you still kinda have to go into that voice of one or the
They're
other?
they're different there were different sets of characters in each storyline, and so yeah, while there's a lot going on, it was all told from, like, her point of view, and it's in first person, and so just to keep her voice consistent and not have to switch up and down, I just did, like, all the guy chapters at once, did all the just to keep it from having to, like, switch up and down too much.
Jumping down too much, yeah. That is really good. So I thought we could play a couple would you rathers and do it narrator style. So the first
Okay.
question is, would you rather narrate a romance with a ton of emotional scenes or a thriller where it's like consistently intense?
I would probably take the romance, just in general, yeah. Yeah, I've done one, like, suspense thriller book, and it was fun. It was fun, but I like the romance, what can I say?
What about like romantic suspense?
That would be fun too. I
That'd be
could do
fun.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only thing I can't really do is horror, like straight up like, even horror romance, I'm like, "No, I actually feel icky now, I don't think I can do it. I have
Yeah.
to live in this, so no, I
Yeah.
can't."
Yeah. I
But
agree. I would definitely agree. I don't know. I don't like scary movies, so I mean, I listen to like mafia romances. Like I've listened to dark mafia romances.
no, but that's different, that's more like suspense,
Yeah.
That's like a suspenseful
Yeah.
vibe, not so much like
The horror stuff. I'm like, "Ooh."
yeah, no.
Okay. So would you rather narrate a book you love but struggle with the characters or a book you're not really into but the narration is easy?
I would say the first one. I
Yeah.
would do one I love. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. Because
Okay.
it's more fun when you love it. It's just easier in that sense,
All right.
even if it's hard.
Even if it's hard. Okay. This one might be hard. Would you do you have to pick one. Would you rather fantasy or romance?
That is hard. Probably fantasy,
Fantasy. Okay.
honestly. Give me
And
the
then
magic.
magic. Yep, all the magic. And then would you do a standalone series or a standalone or a series?
That's tricky. I mean, I do a lot of both, but I think I really like doing a series. I would probably pick a series because you get to keep going with the characters, and so you get to you just get to live in it longer.
Well, since you like fantasy, I'm going to ask this. I usually ask this to authors, but I'm going to ask you. Would you rather a werewolf, witch, or vampire?
To be or to,
Mhm.
like, narrate to
Yeah.
be oh, probably a witch.
Okay.
I feel like they have less constraints on them than, like, a werewolf or a vampire,
Yeah, that's true.
Vampires have it kinda hard.
Yeah, they definitely get the short end of the stick.
Yeah, it's rough out there.
Would you rather the villain or the hero when you're narrating?
Okay, so that's so hard because villains, while they're awful, are usually so interesting. Like, they're so interesting because 'cause you're like, "What is wrong with you? Who hurt you? Like, why are you like this?" But ultimately, I love the hero, I really do. I love usually all the elements that make a hero, willing to sacrifice or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
the hero. I'll take the hero.
Would you rather have to do a difficult accent for the entire book or none?
I would rather do the accent.
Yeah.
I love an accent. They're so fun. I'm doing an entire book with an Irish accent, and I am loving every minute of it. It is glorious.
Is it hard to stay in that, like, accent? No?
No, once I'm in it, I'm just, like, in it. Occasionally, I have to stop and be like, "Oh, how would I say that word? Because 'Cause I'm sure that I'm saying it wrong. Let me go find out." But it's so fun. It's like putting on a whole new personality. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. That's really cool. Would you rather narrate a super emotional heartbreak scene or an intense argument scene?
Probably the super emotional one. I don't get to argue a lot in my books, interestingly enough, like, there's not, like, a lot of fighting, but I do have one recently where there's been some yelling, and I'm like, "Well, this is a lot," and I think, honestly, I just wouldn't pick that one because it's harder to make my volume control fine and not, like, blow out my mic.
Okay.
Like, "Oh, I was too loud there, whoops." So, I think that's the only thing was technical difficulty on that one.
Yeah. And then would you rather an enemies to lovers or a lovers to enemies?
No, lovers to enemies makes me so sad.
So enemies
No,
to
no.
lovers.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, although my favorite trope is, like, best friends to lovers, second chance. So, as long as
Okay.
they don't become, like, enemies before the second chance, I'm here for all the, like, agony that that causes. I'm doing one right now, actually. Oof, and it does not end happily because it's part 1, and let me tell you, the tears I have cried going through this book. The title should tell you, though, it's Worth the Hurt by Laura Beth, and oh my god, it hurts, but it's so good. It's so good. Part 2 comes out in August. I'm very
It's good. I'm
excited.
like, do you have to wait a long time?
No, oh my gosh, no, that would be sad. No, just August. We're all gonna make it. We're all just like, "Is it August yet?"
Yeah. It's close. I mean, it's only a few months away.
It's gonna happen so.
I know. I know. So, what, in your opinion, makes a great story?
Oh, man. I think for me, something that is typically character driven, whether it's, a contemporary setting or a fantasy setting, but that's very character driven and really engages your emotions on all their different levels. I feel like that really, if you can capture my attention and make me feel all my feelings from start to finish, yes. Like, I have one this one author of mine, listen, she's so brilliant, Ava Smitty. I don't know if you've read any of her books, but holy cow. I highly recommend. Her writing is so lyrical and so lovely. But she has one book called A Serpent in Stormsby, and the entire thing is set in an inn. Like, the premise is, you know how in the fantasy books, there's always like, oh, they show up at the inn and there's only one bed, right? So what's up with the innkeeper? What's she up to? This book is about the innkeeper. And so the setting is just this one place, and there's a whole plot going on, and it's a bit of a mystery, but it's also a romance. And it's really just delves into Roz, the main character. And it is stunning. I'm like, I have felt all of my feelings from heartbreak to ecstatic to angry to betrayed. Like, what's happening? And it's just all right encapsulated in this one space. So, A Serpent in Stormsby. Yeah, so good.
All right. I'm going to look that one up. That sounds good. I like that. That's one of my favorite tropes is the inn.
Yeah,
There was another book.
there's only one bed.
Exactly. There was another book. It's by Vermilion Bain,
I love Vermilion. Yes.
The Fay
Yes.
Hotel.
Oh my god, I love that book so much.
It's so good. It's so good.
Absolutely, hands down, one of my favorite books. I think I arc read it, and I was like, "Oh my
Read it,
god."
and I interviewed
Did you?
her because I
Yes.
was like, I love this book.
I love it too. We had her on for our book club. I was like, "I love this book so
Yeah.
much."
Yeah.
Yeah, I get to narrate Academy of the Dead. Mhm, mhm. I'm so excited.
So good. Oh my golly. Oh my golly. I'm so excited.
Yep, I love it. I'm so glad I can talk about it.
Yeah. I'm so excited. That book was incredibly written.
Yes, yes.
Magically, like the way that she brings all the characters around, the way she wove in all of the secrets and the mystery and all of the things, it was like,
Their tragic backstory, like,
yes,
I
the
said second
yearning.
chance, like,
Oh, so good.
Atticus, so pathetic Atticus, I love him,
Too. Me too.
and she's just like, "What?" They're so great. I love that book so much.
It's so good. I bought both of those like from her. I got the special editions because I'm like, I need them.
Nice. Yep,
I
I
need
have
them.
them. I was like, "I need the books, I need the art." I have the Atticus art on my art wall. Yes.
Yes, it's
I need
great.
the Eldon art. I don't somehow I don't have his, I need to get it because I love him.
Yeah.
I know, Feyho. Lauren Soar, the artist, that I was like, that is the best portrait I've ever seen. I need it.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Absolutely
She's
stunning.
my
I'm
she's
actually
my favorite MMC portrait artist. Like, what?
I
They're
love
all
that.
beautiful.
I love that. I have a business. I make greeting cards. There's e-box cards. I'm actually making a card of the
I
Faye
love that.
Hotel.
Are
I
you? Yes. Oh no, I have that whole series on my shelf. I love it. My
but
husband and I buddy read it.
you mentioned Throne and Sarah J. Maas. So here's Throne of Glass,
Oh my god, that's so gorgeous.
and then they have lights, so they light up.
Oh my god.
And they're
That's
cool because
amazing.
they lay flat, and you
That's
can write a spot on the
impressive.
back to send it to your friends. So it's like a
That is
box
so
card
cute.
of all
Oh my
your
god,
favorite
I
book
love
characters.
that. I am so
So
impressed. That's
thank you.
amazing.
So I'm making one. I'm gonna see with her about doing the Academy of the Dead because I think that one will be really fun. But I'm doing Faye Hotel. That's the one I'm definitely doing because it's like
I definitely need to know when you do that because I am obsessed. So I
yes,
love that book so much.
yes, me too. So do we ever get to see you out in the wild at any book conventions or events?
Yes. So I have two I'm going to this year. I'm going to be at Forbidden Love in Nashville, the Tea and Tropes event.
Okay.
I want to say it's July 1st to
Okay.
August 1st, 2nd, that weekend.
Hmm.
And then I will be in Chicago for Book Harvest Con October 1st
Okay.
ish, the beginning of October. So, yeah, those are my two events this year. I did Villains and Vixens last year, but I couldn't do this year. I was like, that's the weekend right after the other one, and I cannot do two in a row.
That'd be a lot. Well, hopefully you
But
make
yeah,
it to this side of the world. We're out in California. We have a couple events that are cool coming up. So
that would be so nice. Yeah, is Books Out West? Is that going on right now? I feel like
I
it
think
is.
that's happening.
You guys
Yeah.
have
Yeah. And then so
Romance
we
Out West? Is that what it's called?
yeah. So we have the ones I know coming up, which you could look into. Wild and Windy puts on Love in Vegas. That's in October. And
Well,
then
I'll take a
Spicy
look.
Reads
Ooh,
does events in San Diego.
that's fun. I'll definitely have to look because I would love to go that direction.
Either way. Yeah. That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining me
Yes,
today. It's been so much fun talking with you and hearing about your journey and how you bring our characters that we love to life.
absolutely. Thank you for having me. This was great.
So I've linked all her information below so you can find her and her book so you can start listening to her. And be sure to share this with all of your friends that are audiobook girlies and guys that enjoy listening to a great audiobook. And join me next time as we get another look behind the book.